I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite
podcast
on the Citadel.
Whoa! It's Accidentally Casual RPG Talk with a BioWare slant. My name is Minius from Minius GC, and with me are my co-hosts Seeker Cat.
Hey!
And the Tucker.
Oh shit! Hey, I was finishing up the.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I was finishing up the leaked gameplay,
dude.
Oh, absolutely keep that. There's no way you can change that.
Holy shit! That is the earliest you have ever been distracted in a podcast. We were literally 5 seconds into recording, and you were already not paying attention.
It was Red Dead Redemption 2 leaked gameplay.
I warned you that we were starting like 5 times in a row, and you still went off.
Question: did I acknowledge that we were starting?
Okay, how many for 5 minutes of saying we're about to start?
Because reality doesn't exist unless Tucker acknowledges it. This is apparently how reality works now.
If I waited for you to acknowledge things that we were doing, we would never do anything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you.
All right. By the way, you've got 1 week to finish Detroit Become Human, because the Accidentally Gaming Club is starting. Accidentally Casual Gaming Club is starting next week.
Well,
with the
honestly,
class
they really
on
only
Detroit
have.
Become Human. What's
they,
up?
They only have like 3 days because Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out on the 26th.
Well, I mean, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they have like 2 days or a day and a half, because this podcast is going to release. Because Seeker doesn't give me her audio for a while.
Oh God, come on! I tried. I had technical difficulties.
You did not try hard.
Seeker. We're trying to be professional here, Seeker.
Jeez, Seeker, why do you ruin the podcast 1 minute into it every time?
I love how it's like, also, the Minius is like, Seeker, you need to condense your thoughts still. You're going along, and you ramble on too much. And you guys will just shout shit at each other, and Tucker will go off for like 10 minutes, and I'm just be like...
What I'm talking about on that, though, is that we have a conversation where you have a monologue. That's the difference.
Well, I'm happy for people to join in.
We can't join in because you don't breathe and you just go.
Yeah, it's kind of like
benefits of having singing training. I can just take a breath and I can go for a while.
Then well, if we want more dialogue, that's kind of the podcast where you go back and forth. So I don't care if you stick on a point that's completely random for 15 minutes. I just want to make sure that we get in and talk about stuff.
It's kind of like she's like the Busta Rhymes of just talking. Like she just like breathes as she's talking.
I can't do that. When I was recording a bunch of videos, I had to edit out all my breaths because they were really loud. Took forever.
Did you not want people to know you breathe?
Yep. I want to be like an amazing non-breather
I think
talker.
it was... I can't remember what it was that I was editing, but I think it was you. I can't remember if it was you or Minius, Tucker. But someone had like this little wheeze. I think someone was sick during that recording. So someone had a little wheeze, and I knew like most people just ignore it or just think, oh, they're sick, they're human, that's fine. I thought, no, I'm going to eliminate the wheeze. So I had to track down like 200 little second clips of this little noise that drove me insane. And you know what the first comment was? God, they sound like shit. Who's sick and what's that noise they keep making? I was like, God damn it!
That's amazing.
When did you edit something? I thought I edited stuff.
The BioWare podcast was the original podcast that we were supposed to do that I put loads of effort into editing down.
I thought I edited that.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Aren't you glad you don't have to edit that anymore?
Aren't you glad I didn't say orange?
By the way, I'll be editing the Detroit Become Human podcast, and I'm not on that because I will ruin it. And I will be going absolutely nuts while you guys talk the whole time. I'll be so irritated.
We can submit your frustration with the game at one point. I hate QTEs.
It'll be the tag at the end of the episode. Hopefully it won't be a 5-minute rant. because I gotta be on
David
something.
Cage,
Anyway, yeah.
Or like one of those things where like this video of you raging and it's just translating. Minius is calm. Minius is fine. Minius does not like this game very much.
The calm issue, for instance, the reason I am not playing this game is because I'm legitimately afraid I'm going to damage my controller and or television, which has been a problem when I was younger. I've gotten better at not throwing things, but the last time I played a QTE game, I absolutely chucked my controller across the room.
You must be fun at Mario parties.
No, I mean, I've gotten really good at it. No, I don't chuck them. At the worst, I like flip it up in the air onto the couch softly because this stuff's just too freaking expensive.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I've never chucked any of my controllers. The worst I have ever done is I threw it at the couch because I had what was called my controller pillow cushion thing. And anytime I was frustrated, I'd be like, oh, god damn it. And I'd throw the controller at the cushion where it would harmlessly bounce off. Now, another family member, who shall remain nameless, had shifted the pillow slightly so my controller sort of hit it at the wrong angle to which I was accustomed to throwing it. And it sort of bounced off and slid off the couch and then hit the floor. And I was like, oh no! But it was fine. There was no damage. It was just an accidental, just like, 1.5 foot drop from a couch that... You know,
usually that's
instead
fine.
Of like breaking shit.
I broke
it's only like I do. This is something I legitimately wanted to ask for a while. Do girl gamers like smash their shit? Because it seems to be mostly a guy thing.
I mean, I broke a controller playing Master Chief Collection. I was speedrunning Gravemind, and I was about to beat it in like a decent time, and the game crashed, and I broke the controller.
I'm not a girl, and I can't answer that. I have not seen a girl break any controllers.
Yeah.
Is that common?
I've got a lot of guy friends, and most of them have it. I broke my controller's story. I broke this, or I did that broke thing, and I was like, I just that shit is expensive, and I can't afford to repay it. And they're like, yeah, I couldn't either. So it's like, why do it then?
All right. By the way, we're talking Anthem today.
Yeah, we are.
We've been going for a long time and haven't mentioned Anthem. Last week on the show, Tucker and I got really worked up about it. And then Seeker tried to calm us down, which is not actually good for the podcast, even though that's a way a good human being would react to people arguing. She was being a very good person.
I'm a mediator. It's my job. But then I'm in a podcast where it's supposed to be, Minius screams at Tucker for an hour and Tucker cackles like a madman.
Yeah, dude. I just giggle and have fun.
You're supposed to like go and let us burn each other out.
Yeah. Oh, that's my strategy now.
Which will happen, and then Tucker will do something else.
Tucker will text me something offensive, like, "Oh, this is what this is a picture of the Daredevil game that leaked," and I was legit excited because I was like, "Oh, he's got like insider knowledge. What does he send me? A black box because Daredevil is fucking blind."
Man. Fun fact about that one, I also decided to put that on Reddit, and it there's 154 comments on that post.
Were any of them positive?
No. I mean, they're all funny as fuck. They're like, oh, I thought this was a GIF and I was waiting for it to load, or like I was sitting here for a few seconds waiting for it to load before I realized.
Yeah, Tucker's a great person.
Come on, you gotta give me though. You gotta give me like credit for the creativity, though.
I guess I knew you were gonna mess with us on that, and I just wanted you to not do it. And for some reason, Seeker was surprised that you messed with her, which kind of weirded me out.
Or just the fact that y'all are surprised I mess with you in general.
No, because some of the times when you mess with it, it's really dumb, and we don't get it because it's dumb, and then you cackle like crazy.
But then I also have moments where I pull something out that y'all don't believe, and then I show you, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah." That's probably the only reason why you still get us.
Yeah,
because you do have a weird collection of knowledge.
Well, because I can't just troll. Like a good troll knows when to troll and knows when to like be serious and do that. It's a skill.
So last week before the podcast, I talked about how we need to get on track faster. I'm going to stop trying to do that. It's just not going to happen. This is a very casual podcast. It's called Accidentally Casual. It's really casual on purpose. It's accidentally casual because if we try to do a serious podcast, Tucker ruins it.
Well, how was the podcast with Ability Drain?
It was about like if you got two people drinking.
It was good. It was like the best.
How much caffeine did you two have before the podcast?
Oh, very little.
Exactly.
That's just,
and
that is how Dragon Age fuels us. It imbibes us. It
sounded
gives
like
us
they
joy.
drunk a jug of coffee and just went on. But anyway, Anthem. Hey.
Anthem. Yay.
So we got a bunch of your questions we're going to get to in a bit. I wanted to go over our thoughts. You two are very excited about this game.
Yes, as we've stressed in about 4 different podcasts at
Yes.
this point.
I am not. And after putting out feelers, I got a very mixed response. What were the responses you guys got?
I mostly get people like going, no, not excited to my face. But like I've talked to people in like real life, like people who don't interact via Twitter and Skype and things. It's weird. And they're like, yeah, either like, oh yeah, it looks interesting, I'm going to buy it. Or I should say that I guess...
Are those BioWare fans?
There's like a 50-50 split, like in my friends circle of people who are like hardcore BioWare people, and most of them are like, yeah, sure, we'll get it because it's BioWare. And the other half are like, yeah, it looks cool, I'll get it. So that's still like, it's in my friend circle, the people of the percentage of people that are going to get Anthem is like 80%.
All right, I might go with one of our... We used to do this on Andromeda Nerds, where we would put up a Twitter poll while we were doing the podcast and respond to it. I love doing
polls.
that.
The Twitter polls are great.
I might do that. My Twitter poll is how we ended up with Detroit Become Human, so I've softened on them greatly. Anyway, what I wanted to ask is, what does this game need to do to succeed?
Good question. I think what it has to do is make... It's stupid to say, but it basically has to make a game that appeals to both the single player and the MMO, FPS, multiplayer crowd at the same time. Because, like, single player's killing it. Single player is really coming back into vogue. Because it's like, oh, is single player dead? No, it wasn't, obviously. And so that's what they need to do.
Okay.
I kept my answer
yes, you did.
under 30 seconds.
That was very general too. I like
Yeah,
I'm being overly critical. All right, I need to shut the hell up.
Well, it's
note to self: Seeker can't do anything right. Don't give a shit what Whittier says.
Yeah, sorry.
See, the thing though about Anthem is it's missing like the best class, which is, or like probably what my favorite class has been in any kind of RPG, and that is a goose class.
A goose class?
What?
Yep. Yeah.
Like a physical goose, like an actual goose.
There is a goose class in Elder Scrolls.
Where you're? I don't remember that. Like, okay, go into more detail. Are you talking about the bird?
Yeah, no, it was called a goose class, and you were like, it was a mage. You could sneak, and like you were stealthy and things like that.
Oh, okay, that's called a goose.
Yeah,
I'm picturing you pretending to be a goose and like,
I mean, why not?
Pecking at things, and then if somebody gets close to you, you flap your wings. I was thinking this. What Anthem does not need this.
Actually, have you ever had a goose attacked you? Goose in like when they get territorial can be fucking terrifying.
Yeah, the only goose problems I've had are on golf courses, but and it's mostly has to do with poop. They poop all over the place, but then again, they're animals.
They do.
Canadian geese are not nice.
No, they are not, and I have to walk past like 30 of them twice on a daily basis.
Do y'all remember when BioWare had geese that were like hatching outside of cells?
Yes,
I thought they still have
got
that.
named.
Do they still have that?
Well, I think they let them into the wild. I think they were just like, yeah.
Well, I mean, they like parked on top of the building, right?
I'm gonna look up what their names were because I can't remember. Because some of them were really good. They were the Andromedans geese.
Yeah, I'm looking up what the names were.
Did I just
Anyway.
call it the Andromeda's geese? Oh, Jesus Christ, I can't talk.
The Andromeda's geese. So here, I've had 3 points to what this game needs to be successful.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. 2 of them I'm very, very worried about. The one that I think they're going to be fine with is that you need, and this is more of a personal thing, and if you don't care about this, I'm just going to say you're wrong. The gameplay needs to be very, very good. Because if you're going to grind for a long time, like, flying around, shooting, it needs to be fun to play.
What about the gameplay doesn't... Well, what about the gameplay doesn't look good to you?
No,
that's what I'm curious about.
That's the one I think's going to work.
But it needs to feel like I totally get what Minnie's is saying. There's a difference between gameplay looking like, oh, it's cinematic and cool, but there's that zen zone when you're playing a game and you really feel like the avatar move and you feel like you're killing it, and even though you're not doing anything too spectacular, because it feels perfect in the gameplay, you feel like you're kicking ass, even if, in a statistical standpoint, you might not be.
Well, the thing with the gameplay that I'm excited about is the jetpack. Like, that adds just a whole new level of traversability and everything like that.
Okay, guys, I got the names of the geese. So
what are
it was Shepbird, Admiral Quacket, Garus, Scout Honking, H. Chick 47, Darth Malgoose. Those 2 are KOTOR, Star Wars the Old Republic ones. Carver Honk, Bethany Honk, Erdnot Pex, Quackwall, Cassandra Pentagoose, and the Iron Bill. Those are bravo, community. Thank you.
I
for the
remember
greatest
Cassandra
goose names ever.
Pentagoose.
I remember Erdnot Pex. I remember that one.
So anyway, those 3 things that I think a game needs. Gameplay. All they need for me to enjoy the game is gameplay. I'm not like most people, though.
Well, a lot of games have gameplay. It is kind of there.
But okay, it's not a do you have gameplay. It's you have good gameplay. And that's the one I'm okay with. I mean, if you have a game that doesn't have any gameplay, did you fail?
Yeah.
Like 0 actual gameplay.
Well, it's kind of like a person not having a personality.
They're still a person, though, right?
Yeah, but
You
I mean,
still
can you?
exist, but people wonder what's the point of you.
What is the point of you?
Why do you exist? You are an idiot sandwich.
That's pretty insulting. You have no
yeah.
purpose.
Yes, you have no purpose, and you will never make anyone happy because you have nothing to contribute to the world because you genuinely have no soul. Good day to you, sir.
Essentially.
So the second one, and it's really sort of the first one, because this is a BioWare game, is I need this to have an interesting backdrop. The universe that it's set in.
I thought you were
going to
say,
awesome.
I need to bone somebody, and I was like,
no, I'm not anywhere near as into boning people in video games as a lot of the people who are into BioWare games, and even I'm disappointed about the lack of boning, but I don't think it's needed, because what I really need is a fun universe to explore in, and where, specifically Mass Effect and Dragon Age nailed it, is they have these huge, deep, rich universes that has all this lore and backstory, and you're taking a serious part in the plot of the whole thing. And
I agree.
I don't know if they have this yet. I haven't seen anything that's got me super interested. I've seen things that got me kind of interested, but not super interested.
I had it in a sentence. The gods tried to make the world and then abandoned it and left their tools behind. It's like, give me more of whatever you are selling.
So that does it for you right there.
Well, so you want to know that about the lore and everything with this game, right?
I don't need to know about it now. I'm just saying it needs to be very, very good.
Well, because I'm just trying to think of when Mass Effect was first.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did Mass Effect really grip you as like, oh, this game's great? Or going to be great.
Well, not just that, but I'm just trying to think of the trailers and stuff like that for the first Mass Effect game. They didn't show much of what the lore is. Like, they showed this is what the world is,
Do you know
But they
the
didn't
honest
show-
to God first thing that made me want to play Mass Effect? The first time I heard about Mass Effect, because I wasn't really paying attention to gaming stuff at the time. There was a magazine I had, and it had an advert in it. And it was of Shepard looking at the stars. And the closest stars to him said alert, or like distress signal, distress signal, distress signal. And as the stars got further away, it got signal lost, signal lost, signal lost. And it just gave the impression of this monumentous force was coming to you and you were the one person who could stop it. And I was like, you know what? That is a chilling sci-fi reminder. I hope whatever this game is lives up to that idea. That was a single page advert in a magazine, in a movie magazine. So, you know, advertising can be a bunch of things.
I don't remember the run-up to Mass Effect at all.
So, quick side note. My cat just climbed itself underneath my door.
Okay.
Like, my door's
As
closed.
it did
and
last time, I think. Or the one before.
So I don't remember the run-up to Mass Effect. I just remember they say, hey, this was done by the Knights of the Old Republic guys. I'm like, that's it. I'm in. That's all I needed. Because it's a lot like that. And... I mean, I'm not saying that they're not going to have a great universe. This is the one area I think that Destiny completely failed in. I don't like that universe at all. I don't like it.
It's not interesting. And that's really sad because they created that's Bungie. They created the Halo universe.
Exactly. I mean, that could have been huge, right? I mean, that would have been awesome.
I mean, the Halo universe is so expanded. Like, there's so many books and everything that are all just about the backstory that don't even talk about the games at all. And there's so many things that are just on its own.
What happened? What do you think happens to you if Destiny is set in the Halo universe?
Oh, it's not. It's
No. I'm just saying, take out all the Destiny stuff, get rid of the fucking Traveler.
Then it
and
has
the magic.
permanently damaged the Halo series. If they are like, oh, this is part of the...
No. All right, I'm not saying it already. I'm just saying, like, forget the same core gameplay. Co-op,
every time
loot.
I see a picture of Destiny or a poster of it, I'm continually assaulted with the first thought I had the first time I saw the Destiny poster, which is, why the fuck does the Traveler not create gravity? Or, like, why does it not fuck up like every single tidal thing on planet Earth? Why doesn't it do that?
So, wait, were you meaning, like, what if essentially, instead of creating Destiny, Bungie created a Halo game like Destiny?
Yeah.
That would have been terrible.
Really?
That would be absolutely gone. Oh, yeah. Okay. Like, and that's the thing that a lot of the Halo community doesn't understand. Like, they're like, oh, look at what 343 is doing to Halo and things like that. They're following there's a thing called, like, the Halo Bible, which is, like, what the development of the game. It supposedly has games marked out for the next 20 years of what the next 20 years of Halo games, what they're going to be. And 343 are following through that. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, this isn't anything like, you know, Bungie needs to get back Halo, they need to do all that stuff. But look at what Bungie's doing to Destiny. Like, that's their first, I think that's their first new IP, like, that's their first new IP in a long-ass time. And they butchered that thing.
I think they had issues with Activision. I don't like Activision at all. A lot of people don't like EA. I have a huge problem with Activision. And my problem with Activision is totally one-sided and has entirely to do with Spider-Man. Because they ruined like 15 Spider-Man games by not giving them enough time to do what they needed to do and stuff. And it just drove me nuts. Just absolutely nuts.
Just like we didn't have a good Spidey game in how long? When was the last good Spidey game?
They would do a couple that were pretty
Lego
good.
Marvel?
I would say Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, which was on the last generation.
If that's the one I'm thinking
that was
of.
pretty good.
Was that the one where you had Spidey, but you could switch out different characters, and it was like...
you had 4 different Spider-Men from 4 different universes, and they went out and grabbed all the great Spider-Man actors, and that was just fantastic. I mean, they had Christopher Daniel Barnes, who did the 90s series. Yay. They had, Josh Keaton, who did Spectacular Spider-Man. I believe... Neil Patrick Harris was doing The Amazing Spider-Man, and he did a... animated series for MTV, I think. So they grabbed some sweet guys to do that, and it was a good story. And then they did the follow-up to that, which was they made them do it in like 1 year. And you need 3 years to make a game, and that did not work at all. And I just wanted to go reach out and strangle Activision, but they've been doing that repeatedly.
There's also the weird thing of how Activision is now doing a lot of stuff with Blizzard. So you can get... It's really weird that you can get like Activision games now on Blizzard's Battle.net, which is their kind of thing of Steam.
Can you really?
Yeah, there's there's Black Ops 4 and Destiny 2 on there, and it's kind of... So...
That kind of brings down the quality of game on that.
Well, not just that, but I mean, the line that you're going through there is it's made by Bungie, published by Activision, and it's on a Blizzard platform.
Well, Blizzard and Activision are owned by the same people.
Yeah, but it's just like it's just like the way it goes through like that.
They're very different, companies. I know.
All right.
I get what you mean.
I sent out a Twitter poll that we're gonna comment on as this goes along to see if it works. Can you guys retweet it?
Certainly.
What if I say no?
Then you're off the podcast.
You're an idiot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ow. Although Seeker also has access to the BioWare follower Twitter.
You guys still aren't BioWare Central?
Okay, so
ongoing.
The final documents are signed, everything like that. It should hopefully be happening really soon. But with some back stuff that I've been telling y'all about, I'm also seeing what's happening with that.
Yeah,
to see how
there is a chance. Well, actually, we'll get into that later.
Well, let me wait till like after full on the.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the podcast for more information regarding something that we have not teased well at all. Okay. What point was I on? I was on point number 2 about there being a good universe, which so far I'm not sure about. Obviously, Seeker sold with the gods having left their tools behind. I'm not, because I've played that game before. It's called Mass Effect.
I think. Oh, for God's sake, no! That's not. Put it this way: like the Protheans were never like, oh yeah, they're gods. It's like, no, these are from the devs. Gods, but that's it different.
But it's basically like, with the way you think of it, if they're Protheans, they left all these, gates that connect to each other, mass relays, and you use those exclusively. That makes up the whole universe, and they are supposed to have left that behind. Of course, they didn't actually do that.
There's a difference between Protheans are the precursors that had all this technology that we don't understand to, oh, they are the gods of this universe, full stop.
But isn't that basically what that is? I mean, gods could be, ancient civilizations.
Don't forget, Dragon
science
Age also
is just.
I really hope it's not that, because they've been doing that for both Dragon Age and Mass Effect. Like,
that's my point.
I really hope it's something different.
It seems like it.
Not just that, but it's just like a bunch of games in general. Like Halo also does that with like the Prometheans and everything like that.
I was gonna say the Protheans are in Halo.
The Protheans are in Halo. I missed that.
But it's like, it just seems like a lot of games are, these are these old gods or these old race that is now extinct that left all the stuff behind. Like, it seems like that's almost a cliche at this point. Like,
it's a super cliche, because it's essentially like the sci-fi version of, oh, we couldn't get rid of the evil sorcerer, so we locked him away, and he's going to amass his power and break out, and it's like, oh, it's done to death. Stop it.
Are you recording from like halfway across your room now?
No, I haven't moved.
She's under a sheet.
Oh, right.
I haven't moved.
Yeah, she can't move, otherwise the sheet is going to turn her into a ghost and she's going to trip.
Because I don't know if it was just me then. It sounds like you're...
I think she just... all you have to do is back your face away from the microphone and you get that. There's one more thing I need that's related to this, and we got in a huge argument about this in the game last time, or on the podcast last time, is I need at least just like one line to tell me what the plot is. Because at the moment, all it seems like is you're a mercenary who goes after money.
They've had several lines about the plot.
What was that?
Yeah, you're a freelancer who does jobs for the factions of Fort Tarsis. You're trying to fight the factions of the Dominion, the Scars, and figure out what's going on with these tools the gods have left behind, and try and contend with them. Oh God, what's the planet called?
That's not doing it for me. I want to know the motivations behind these dudes, and you can put like a fake motivation as long as it's interesting, and that's kind of what I need.
It's just put it this way, with spoiler for Dragon Age Inquisition, what
Spoilers!
they did was they released spoilers. They released a little card. They released a trailer that had a sort of the Last Supper reveal shot of all the companions that were going to be in the game, which was terrific. And I was like, oh, let's figure out who they were. But the thing they did after that is that they released what each companion was called, and a little quote to reflect their personality or ideology, or whatever it was. Now, for Blackwall, now some of you already know where this is going. The quote they had for Blackwall was, in the end, a warden is a promise to make things better. And I was sat there thinking, no, it isn't. It really isn't. That guy isn't a warden. And I was going like, no, they just told me, don't you fucking try and pin this down, or deny it. They just told me before the game's released a major spoiler about this character. And sure enough, the game comes out and Blackwall lies about being a warden. That is a big reveal for his character.
Isn't that great when studios accidentally spoil their own things?
Yep. And it was just like, why? What? Like, you could have pulled like anything else, any other quote from him, and not had that effect. But because you had to use that specific one about the Wardens, and you thought people who are fans of this project wouldn't know enough about the lore and everything. Bear in mind, there are people who have fashioned together translations of the Elven language in Dragon Age, and they didn't think they would be dedicated enough to see that, hang on, that's bullshit. You're just telling an absolute fabrication by the rules of your own universe.
So here's an example of what I might be able to do with this, and basically this is almost true, but you mentioned the Dominion. The Dominion is another faction of dudes with Iron Man suits. So if you don't know anything about it, they're not actually Iron Man suits because they get sued. And they want to control the creepy god stuff. Right?
Yes.
So here's an intro that would work. The Dominion has stepped up their acquisition of god artifacts, and you need to figure out what's going on. That would have me intrigued, and that might very well be the plot, but they haven't said that.
I like the idea of, that's the thing, with RPGs, especially BioWare like RPGs, I like having a sort of open-ended fate of the character where I'm feeling my choices are sort of driving what goes ahead. Or at least so it feels like that from the start.
Okay, so you guys are on, by the way, this Twitter poll, I love, we're going to do this now. I love these fucking Twitter polls in the middle.
I love
in the middle of the podcast that it's funny because we're recording this now and the podcast isn't going to come out for days, but people are already answering the question. All right, so I had 4 different options. What is your current excitement level for Anthem? 23% are at I'm excited. 19% need to see more. 33% are interested out of loyalty, which is where I'm at. And 25% are not interested. Now keep in mind that people who are following our Twitters are big BioWare fans. So currently more people are not interested than they are excited. And there's, I suppose, if you add the interested out of loyalty, it's about 50% of people are interested in the game, with about 20% need to see more.
I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the game, but I don't want people to be excited for no reason. I want people to be excited with a reason if they're not excited.
Holy shit! Sorry.
What?
I did it. I did attacker. I'm sorry.
Did you see
what'd you do?
I was going to Twitter because I was like, oh, I'll just check what the thing is. And then I saw something that made me very, very happy. I've known for years now that Guillermo del Toro has wanted to make a stop-motion Pinocchio movie, and not only is he making it for Netflix, it's going to be a musical. That shit is going to traumatize people. I shit you not.
So it's
Pinocchio already traumatized people. People don't understand how traumatizing that movie was.
Oh yeah, like
that whole goat or the donkey scene.
Mama. He's like, holy shit, that is traumatic as a kid. That's traumatic as an adult. No, you know the thing that freaking scared the shit out of me when I watched it back when I was a little bit older? The scene right after the... it's sort of like at the same time as the Lampwick transformation, where Jiminy Cricket sees all the donkeys are being dragged out, and they got asked what their name is. First donkey makes a donkey noise and gets thrown to the salt boxes named for the salt mines. And then the next donkey says, "My name's Alexander and I want to go home to my mama." And those little donkeys are separated into a different pen. And as an adult, the first thing that came to my mind is like, oh God, those kids are dead. Like that's it. Like, he kills those kids. And also, because Pinocchio does nothing to stop a Disney movie.
This is an extensive Tucker-like rant.
But because Pinocchio just leaves and doesn't tell anybody, nobody stops the coachman. This has bothered me for years. So yeah, Pinocchio is by far the most traumatic.
I have no clue what you're talking about because it's literally been like 20 years since I've seen probably.
Jesus.
Well, I have no clue. I don't remember this.
You need to watch that movie, dude.
No, I don't.
Again.
I need to play Red
Yes,
Dead
you do.
Redemption.
Fine.
I'm so excited for that game.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, I'm excited about the game, and I've done everything I can to not learn about that game.
Good for you. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it other than I played the it's not a prequel because it's later, but I played that and just the mechanics and stuff. Anyway, more on Anthem. The third thing out of the three that I need to have work out is I need to be able to progress continuously, being that if I'm going to spend 6 hours playing the game, I want to know I'm making progress towards anything.
Agreed. Yeah.
That is the biggest problem with Destiny.
Yeah, and MMOs in general.
You can play for like 15 hours and all you're doing is hoping to get a drop. That's all you're doing.
Yeah, the
instead of
Skinner
actually
box,
working towards something.
You're hoping for that little level up noise or a drop, or you're just doing it for the arbitrary reward. I'm totally on board with you with this because I want story progression, damn it.
I remember in the first gameplay reveal that they did show a drop. It was like Jara's Wrath.
Drops are fine. I just want to make sure, like, instead of getting drops, you can get currency that you can buy stuff that you need with. How about that? That's progress. Or get faction stuff that you can spend that's worth something. That's worth stuff. I think the easiest way to do this, and they're not doing this, I'm pretty sure they're not doing this at all, is to have all your weapons and armor be based off a crafting system. Where you
think they are or they aren't doing
They are
that?
not doing that. They might be doing it, but I haven't seen anything like that. Where you go out and you can kill enemies for parts that you need to build yourself a badass gun. Now, you might need a ridiculous amount of parts instead of waiting out for a drop, and you might need faction reputation to trade parts and trade stuff, but that way you are always making progress towards something that you want, not waiting for a random drop.
So you want the ability to do both of those?
I don't really care for drops too much, but drops are exciting for people, so yeah, there's no reason not to do that. I just think the crafting system is the easiest way to do that, and the game I'm going to bring up, which I did not play enough because it broke my friend's PS4 and then crashed on me, was Warframe, where you build your stuff. You build your mech suits, you build your weapons off of drops and stuff, and that's how you progress. And it's not easy to get everything, but it is fun, so you can bring the grind. If the gameplay's fun and you always make progress, then they've got something.
Not to mention, they've got enough stuff that you can, if you direct yourself, like, oh, I want to get this thing, you can realize later, if it's taking you a while, that, oh, I've got enough resources to build this not quite as good thing as the thing I'm aiming for, but something to get me to that other one faster. And it's like, oh,
exactly.
Terrific. So it always feels like if you're not getting the exact thing you want, you can get an adjacent thing that will get you to the thing you want. It's great. And the gameplay is I'm struggling to think of a game where I was playing, especially something like Warframe, that just felt so fun. I caught myself just like sort of laughing and just being like, this feels great. This feels like how a superhero should feel to play, you know.
I would like if there's a system like what they have in Hearthstone. Like I very much
I
like.
haven't actually played Hearthstone. I tried, but yeah.
I love the crafting system with Hearthstone. It's essentially you can get every single card. It's possible to get every single card by opening up card packs, which you can either spend with real money or it's very easy to get currency in Hearthstone. So, you can do it that way, or if you have a bunch of cards that you don't want, you can essentially get rid of them, and you get dust, and with that dust, you can create cards that you do want.
So that would work. That would work.
I would, if Anthem has something like that, that would be great. And it's such a small, simple thing, and...
If they don't do that, I'm going to be very angry. Be very angry. But so the original vanilla Destiny, which I played quite a bit of because the gameplay was so much fun, I never got my character to the max level. And I played like 400 hours. I did not get the drop I needed. I had an alt that I got to the max level, but I could not get my main. I needed like boots to drop. I couldn't get my fucking boots to drop. I couldn't build my boots. I couldn't make progress towards those boots. I needed to do the raid, and only the raid once a week, and I needed to get the fucking boots to drop, and they never dropped. If this game has that kind of stuff, I'm going to lose my shit.
Agreed.
Anyway, those are the three things. And I don't know if they have that set up. If they're trying to copy off Destiny directly, then it's going to base it exclusively off drops, and that's going to be a problem. It's going to be a big problem.
I don't think it's going to just be based on drops, especially because, the Mass Effect and Dragon Age, stuff like that, it had a currency system where you can go and you can buy things and sell things. So I very, very much feel like it's not going to be only drops.
I really wish it was a crafting system, though. Warframe is the example I want to use. That would be fantastic.
I thought there was going to be a crafting system in Anthem.
Is there?
Did I imagine that? I thought there was.
I don't think they've said enough yet, and they're doing the Tucker method. What he likes is not saying anything about the game, which I don't think is a positive for BioWare at the moment because they didn't say a whole lot about Dragon Age, or didn't say a whole lot about Andromeda, and of course there was a reason for that. It's because they didn't have anything, but that didn't work out, so they can't use that again.
Freelancers can craft a variety of equipment to upgrade their javelins. So,
That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a freelancer, man. Mercenaries are pieces of shit. I don't want to be a mercenary. That doesn't sound fun. Counter argument, go.
Oh, most of the fucking BioWare protagonists have been mercs or something adjacent to, or had to pose as. Yeah.
Your main character?
Yeah, as in Dragon Age 2, Hawk spends a year by what faction you choose, either as a smuggler or a merc.
But you're forced into being that. You're not that to start. You're forced into it.
But you can express like, oh, I'm so glad to be out of that. It's like, oh, I wish I'd never left, or something like that. You can have an opinion about it as a character.
Yeah, that's not you just are a mercenary, too bad. But that's the only example.
Because it's not like a modern society, and we don't know how this society works. Like the freelancers just seem to be a faction that has the name freelancer that just sort of seem to be. They have their own loyalties. They're not just all pieces of shit. Certainly the
we don't know the answer to that yet.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. They said at the convention. Yeah, they did. They revealed a bunch of factions and said we don't
know if they're pieces of shit or not. Is my point.
Well, the guy they had a conversation with didn't seem like a piece of shit, and he's the leader of the freelancers.
Okay.
Hence, go watch that shit again.
Maybe I don't remember seeing that. So it could be that I'm wildly out of thing, but yeah, I don't like mercenaries. And Shepard was not a mercenary, and what?
No,
the Inquisitor was not a mercenary.
Just be a mass murderer if you wanted him to.
Okay,
but I mean that's just a title, though.
It's a dumb title then.
How?
Because of the entire point I've been talking about. It makes you seem like a mercenary.
Okay.
So if you are a mercenary, why is that wrong?
What's wrong with that?
You have no loyalty. Your loyalty is to coin.
Okay.
What's wrong
So,
with that?
like,
that can
that is
branch. That
compelling.
can
I think that sucks. I mean, I would not want to be
But
that. That sucks.
that leaves such an openness to the story.
Yeah.
As well as, especially with, like, although Anthem, I'm not sure really how the choices work, but if yours is based on coin, you don't have to be loyal. Like, you know, you had to do what the council wanted you to do in Mass Effect. With this, you can tell them, like, bugger off because someone else is paying you more, and you can really start being, like, an evil person.
Well, not super evil. You were just a douchebag.
Well, yeah, but, like...
What, like in Mass
if you want to
Effect?
start working for, like, the other people because they're paying... You know, you can grab them because you don't have loyalty, so you can work with whatever group you want.
Not to
I like
mention
that.
if-
I like
right.
that availability.
In the
Yeah, I
comment
like it
section, let
too,
me know.
and if-
I don't think that works towards a plot though, and I want a plot.
Yeah, but as part of, if you're doing a full-blown renegade run of Mass Effect 3, you sell out the Krogan to the Dalatrass and you commit genocide. Like, if freelancers and mercenaries are not exclusive to honor and loyalty.
Yeah, I don't know.
Excluded
I don't
from
like
honor and
mercenaries.
loyalty.
That's all.
Okay.
I liked it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I could be wrong because we don't know enough about it yet. But that's where I'm at. I want to know in the comment section if people are on board with what I'm saying or if they think I'm stupid. Curiosity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious to know. Anyway, couple things. First of all, back to the poll. The polls are starting to get skewed. Now it's only 16% excited, 33% not interested, 50% are in the middle, or 25% interested out of loyalty, 25% need to see more.
Oh. Has anyone else replied to it like I'd have?
Yes, but only one reply. Due to BioWare's last belly flop and EA's antics, I have zero desire to spend any money on anything either of them touch until they prove they are worthy of my money. That's from Wicked Storm. And I asked him...
Wait, that's from Wicked... Because I'm seeing it from a guy named Costa Canella, not Wicked Storm.
It's got
What?
Wicked... Did he change his... Fucking Twitter's weird. You
And not just that, but there's also, like, multiple comments. There's one from Sadis Rojas.
Yeah.
It's Boisophus.
Yeah.
Minius, you're on there.
Yeah, well, mine was replying to the Wicked Storm thing. Whatever.
Yeah, okay, so I see that you replied to him. Like, I see you replied to him, but I don't see his message. But what you just read off is someone else.
Really? All right. Well, that's not
Yeah.
important to this podcast.
No, it is. It's important now.
It's important because you're making it important. I don't care enough.
Oh.
Well, what I mean, I don't care about Twitter's idiosyncrasies. I care more about the subject. That's what I mean.
I'm actually like, I want to know what happened here. Like, this is
not important, Tucker.
It changed the person's like username. Like, what's going on here?
It's not if who cares? All right. Let's get into we got a bunch of questions towards Anthem. Actually, hold on. I'll review my 3 points. First point: elite gameplay, fun to play continuously.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
I think they might have that, and if they have that, I'm going to enjoy the game.
They absolutely do have it. Like, they have that.
Okay. Second point: very interesting universe background.
Yes,
You two are very interested
which it seems
in it.
that they have. Yeah.
I'm
feel
not
like-
interested. I'm not there yet. I need to see more.
But again, like when Mass Effect was first coming out, like it didn't show any of the back lore. Like they didn't mention.
Dude, you were
anything
like
about
5 years old.
Okay, were they mentioned the Protheans in the fucking trailers for Mass Effect 1?
Okay, did
Did
you
they
went
release
back
the
and watch
codex
those?
before the game, Minius?
No, but
No,
I
they
mean,
didn't.
like, I don't actually remember the lead up to that, but I mean, I already knew. I mean, my whole thing, and like, you're excited about Red Dead Redemption, right? And you've seen nothing about it.
Yes.
But
Why?
it's also
Because it's a Rockstar game.
Okay,
It's a Rockstar
so
game,
that's
and
where I
it's
was
part
at.
of a wider story and a wider narrative. It had the first Red Dead Redemption to build off of, didn't it?
Also
Okay,
Cowboys.
were you excited for GTA 5?
Yeah, because it's Grand Theft Auto.
Okay, but those narratives aren't really connected. My point being is I was excited for Mass Effect, or I ended up playing Mass Effect because I knew Knights of the Old Republic. That's why I played it. I didn't worry about the run-up thing. Currently, BioWare is not in a spot where everyone's excited about what they're doing. And a lot of the blame goes to EA, but still, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I love leaving these long silences. I'm hoping you'll respond to my points, and you guys don't. This is not working. I'm going to have to edit these together.
I was typing something. Do it again.
You were not paying attention. I'm not doing it again. I'm moving on. The third point is a continuous progression system, which is I don't know yet. They need all three of those for this game to be successful.
They were pretty good at that with Star Wars: The Old Republic, because not only did you have this insane story campaign to go through, you could go through the story campaign of 7 other classes, and once you were done with that, it's like, oh yeah, here's this DLC that has this story content, here's another bit of DLC that has this story content, here's another bit of DLC that has story content. So it always felt like you were striving.
You get story content. You get story content. Everyone gets story content.
Yeah, exactly. So they're pretty good with that shit, and they kept adding other things like strongholds and the like. So. Yeah, it was
we'll
good.
see. Let me get into these questions. We have an active topic every week. You can email us at accidentallycasual@gmail.com. You can also hit Seeker and I up on Twitter. I'm leaving Tucker out because he doesn't pay attention.
I pay attention.
No, you do not. I'm at MiniusGC. SeekerCat is at 6SeekerCat 5500. Anyway, by the way, next week we're talking Detroit Become Human, so you can send in your stuff there. We got a lot of questions towards Anthem. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Chris Judd wants to know, why would a company known for their solid RPG elements introduce a new IP that is strictly multiplayer?
Because they want to do something new.
Let me finish the fucking question.
I know what the question was, because that's what
Are we
everyone has been
witnessing
going
the
at.
deaths of
They want to
BioWare?
do something new.
They want to do something new, but also they know they can do it because of Star Wars: The Old Republic. They've got a solid strategy in place for how they can deal with certain things, how communities respond to certain things, and people were asking pretty much the same questions about Star Wars: The Old Republic that people were asking about Anthem. I would remember it. I was there.
Tucker, next time let me finish the question so I don't have to edit this funny.
So, I mean, like, this is just something that I just remembered. But, so Rocksteady.
Yeah.
They make, the Arkham series, which is tip top. It's up there.
Thumbs up.
The game that they did before that was a first-person shooter called Urban Chaos, which was like a Riot kind of game. You're like a Riot Squad police person. And then after that, they made Batman: Arkham Asylum, completely different from the previous thing that they made, and that is phenomenal.
I don't remember anybody talking about that, but I wasn't very aware of the developer at the time. So,
well, they were very much not well known.
Okay, but nobody was upset about it.
Well,
right?
no, but it's like a company. If they make one thing, they're not stuck to that one thing. They can do what they want, and this is but they want to make a new IP. Like they're like, hey, let's do a new thing.
I'm cool with
that. Should be celebrated.
Like the amount of bitching I've seen. Because anytime George R.R. Martin does anything, and it's like, why aren't you writing the books? It's like, apparently he's not allowed to have a life outside of the books.
No, he's not. He needs to finish.
Attitude. It's the same attitude people have when devs do something that's like, oh, we're not going to work on Dragon Age or Mass Effect. We're going to do this new IP that we hope you're going to like. And everyone's just like, oh, fuck you.
I want to chime in. It's not the new IP that bothers me. It's the multiplayer aspect. And I'm pretty sure because it's multiplayer games are less story based, and if they pull it off, I'll be excited. But I want story based games out of BioWare, and I don't think they're going to manage it because I don't think it's possible to do a great story based game, especially one where you control the universe so much with your actions when it's multiplayer. And I think that's where that question's coming from.
I also want to put in that the Rocksteady game, the Urban Chaos Riot Response, is a game where you're like a riot response person that shoots protesters.
Jesus Christ.
Aren't those guys classy?
That was 2006 when that game came out. And after that, they made Batman Arkham Asylum.
Which explains a lot about Batman in those games, actually.
If you're thinking about like developers who have a thing and they change it, Guerrilla Games, so I know is a Sony exclusive, who made the Killzone games, which is a first-person shooter. They made Horizon Zero Dawn, which is absolutely not a first-person shooter. Definitely worked out. So
Yeah.
I agree.
So-
I agree with you on that. It's the multiplayer aspect that people are worried about.
But why?
Why? Because of the story aspect I just mentioned.
And I told you, they have a very solid MMO that does have very heavy story content, and they're just trying to marry that with their standard storytelling.
But it's just, like, BioWare is known for its stories, but they shouldn't be condemned because they want to do something different that might go again. Well, yeah.
They are! Like, have you seen people read everything? It's just like, oh, it's not Dragon Age, it's not Mass Effect. Oh, fuck them for Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
It's just, everything is just, like, so negative on BioWare. It's just, I mean, I know they're a corporation, they're a company, but yeah, a lot of the devs, I follow a lot of the devs on Twitter. They are working damn hard to make this thing, and it just seems that no matter what they do, everyone's just like, oh, what are you, like, the people who annoy me the most are the ones that every single time a dev posts anything, they'll say, well, what are you going to do to make it up to us for Mass Effect Andromeda? It's the entitlement and the pieces of shit that do that just piss me off.
I would love...
I'm not saying, just one more thing. I'm not saying that anyone who has reservations about Anthem is an asshole. I'm not saying people who aren't interested in Anthem are assholes. That's not the thing. It's just that I'm only talking to the specific group of people who just turn up to nice things people are trying to do and shit on them for no other reason than they want to shit on something.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I love the developers. I think they're really talented. I'm still concerned that EA told them to make a game like Destiny. And even though they said that's not the case, and it may not be the case, I'm always going to be worried about that because conspiracies are fun.
And like, so when I was working at EA, I was working on Madden. Everyone loved working on that. It was fun. It's a lot of fun. But there were some moments where we got to work on other projects, and that was even more fun because it was something new, something different. And so people that have been working at BioWare for like 10 years or something like that, and they're doing the same kind of thing, RPG. Sure, it's Mass Effect and Dragon Age, but it's an RPG, it's story, it's all that stuff. This is something brand new that they can work on. So it's just like, they should be like, the BioWare, I understand the people being worried of, the story might not be like what it was for previous things, but they're trying something completely different from everything they've tried before. Like, this is a huge risk that the company is taking, and that should be not celebrated, but you should look at that and go, they're trying something completely different. Give them a chance. And
you know what? If BioWare marched up today and said, our next project, the secret Project Joplin we've been working on is Mass Age. It's a Dragon Age Mass Effect crossover with all of this. People who say, like, that sounds like a shit idea, or that's too much of the ESA. I know. It's like all people are complaining about. I'm just making the point that if all BioWare said is like, oh, we're going to make what we had before, people are just going to say, why are you bothering with that? Why didn't you do something new? So there is apparently no ground in which BioWare can win. If they make something new, they're shit on. If they try and make something old, they're shit on that for that.
They need this game to be fun and successful, and it'll change everything.
I agree.
Yeah. People will stop asking those questions.
Eventually.
But at the moment, well...
I get it. It's the freshest thing in people's memory, so people are just going to have to do it, but I cringe every single time someone brings up Andromeda in like an Anthem related context, because it's just like,
it's the Mass Effect 3 ending. I don't know why people were upset with Dragon Age Inquisition, but I was never as much of a Dragon Age guy. And then
you never inquired
Andromeda.
About that?
What? I don't understand what they're talking about.
Okay.
Why don't you get into what was wrong with Dragon Age Inquisition, Tucker?
People thought
what was what?
What was wrong with Dragon Age Inquisition?
The hinterlands were very confusing on how to get out of them.
Okay. That's all you've seen anyway. Sorry for cutting you off again, Seeker.
No, it's all right. You were trying to go for a bit, and I was just a bit too incensed. I get it. It just, with Dragon Age Inquisition, Corypheus the villain, despite being really interesting, because he's actually introduced in a bit of DLC for 2, and you had this great boss battle with him, and it was really interesting, and then I played Inquisition, and I was like, oh, it's that guy, and he's kind of a little bit different, but a bit too similar to what he was before. And somehow his boss fight when he's in the main game than when he is in the DLC is infinitely cooler in the DLC than it is in the main game.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of reminded a bit of like how the Shadow Broker was faint, like just a little bit mentioned in Mass Effect 1. It's very easy to miss it.
Yeah.
And then like he comes back and like I do love that when Mass Effect does those little things.
Yeah.
I should mention this, the one thing, because I'm being very negative on Anthem because you guys are being very positive and it's fun to get dialogue going.
You have to balance.
The one thing I really like, I like shooting crazy monsters, and this game definitely has that.
Lots of big ass spiders.
They're not aliens. Well, I guess there are alien, or they're not people. They're crazy ass monsters, and that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does look like there are humanoid
I was going to
enemies
say,
and
we've
stuff
got
like
the
that.
Dominion for like, oh, I'm a super deep, complex character with a backstory and the reasons why I'm compelling. And then you get to go out and shoot super awesome monsters as well. You get to have your cake and eat it. It's great. Different types of villainy make stories interesting.
Not just that, but also like that giant spider.
Yeah.
In the gameplay, that looks cool.
I'm also slightly worried about bullet sponge elements, because I think that damaged Andromeda's gameplay and is a huge factor in specifically. Here's another question. How similar is Anthem to Destiny and The Division? The quick answer is we don't know. That's from Blair Stone. But it looks very similar.
I can say, like, Anthem and Destiny are completely diametrically opposed, I would say, in terms of...
I mean, in setting, in concept, they're almost identical.
Okay,
It doesn't look like anything's a bullet sponge from the gameplay. Even the big spider, it didn't seem like it was a bullet. It seemed like, it was taking the accurate damage of a gigantic spider.
I guess so.
But it didn't seem like it was a bullet. Like, the spider would keep leaving the battle, and, like, tiny spider things would come out, and then the big, like, so it would be, like, a wave-based fight. Yeah. But it didn't look like it was a bullet sponge. Like, it was taking about 7 years to knock down some of its health.
Of course, that was a demo, and you don't want to show off a bullet sponge in demo. But then again, I don't have the answer to that yet.
And you don't want to give the impression that this thing isn't going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, and the answer is I'm not saying the game's going to be a bullet sponge game. I'm just going to be worried about it.
And let me just clarify for the Destiny and Anthem are diametrically opposed thing. I can't comment on The Division because I haven't played The Division, have no real interest in it. I've played Destiny 2. I can't speak for 1. But with Destiny 2, I was like, okay, yeah, it's the same game. But I played through the story and I was waiting for something to hook me and just be like, this is compelling because of this reason. This is compelling because of this reason. And it's like, you've got Cade 6 and he's funny and charming and it's like, yay, I like that guy. And other than that, it's just like, I am big stompy thing and I stomp you. It just felt exhausting because the more I was playing it, the more entirely shallow the world felt to me, because nothing related to being human or making choices. It was just lots of people very dramatically looking to the camera saying, we're doing this for our home and to kick out the invaders and all this shit. And it's like, this is so boring. Like, they made no brave choices. The one brave choice they tried to make was killing Cade 6 because they knew that if they killed the only likable character in their entire franchise, people would be pissed off. And it's like, oh yeah, let's go kill the guy who killed him.
Now they have nobody.
Yeah.
Now they have nobody.
So it's like, it's just this big empty world. And it's like, yes, they got an interesting writer to come in to write the lore and the backstory, but only Bungie has access to all of it. So the only way we see what the lore is if they divvy it out into these little log entries and diary entries and little snippets of conversation that are on pieces of armor that you have to grind to get, and it's exhausting because it's just like, it's a Skinner box of just, oh, let's go get this thing, go hunt for this thing, and it's like, I don't care about the loot, I just want someone to give me a reason to care about this universe, and nobody does.
I think some of the problem with that is that a a lot of it's based in magic that they don't explain.
Yep.
And so it seems
space
fake.
magic, and then fans shit on me for saying it's space magic when it blatantly is. It's like,
What? Wait, they shit on you, dude. It even says space magic.
I know.
It literally is.
Yeah. It's like what people shit on me for is like, oh no, the Vex use magic, the Guardians use light, and I was like, it's just two different types of space magic. It's it's just different types of flashy lights. Who gives a shit if I call one magic and the other is also magic? Why is that so offensive to you?
All right, just one last thing on Destiny. You played the latest DLC, right?
Yes.
Do they explain what the darkness is yet?
No, but
okay.
you can
Christ.
They sort of hint at, they tease it even more.
No, they need to stop teasing that shit. It's been 5 years.
I know.
It's important.
There's
a thing called foreplay, but that's...
I only played it last year, and I'm already sick of that shit. It's like, just fuck me or don't. Fuck me or don't, Bungie. Jesus Christ.
I love playing the first game, and this is obviously, it's a joke that Destiny fans are going to be very irritated with. But as we're playing it, and I beat the game real quick, and I ask people, like, hey, have you found out what the darkness is yet? They're like, no, and like, don't worry about it, you won't.
Yeah. You'll get Half-Life 3 before you find out what the darkness is.
Oh, that's bad, if that's true.
Yeah.
All right, more questions before we start running it. Ileana, who has our kick-ass logo.
Woo!
Do that thing for that away.
Yay!
Multiple questions. BioWare has stated that the game will be playable solo. How truthful do you think that is? Especially since we already know the Strongholds will demand a 4-player squad. Do you think the solo experience will be enjoyable or severely lacking because the game is not actually meant to be played that way?
I mean, you could play World of Warcraft solo.
Yeah.
They're going to make the game with you wanting to play with your friends, but they're not going like, oh, you have, like, you know,
they're not
have to play multiplayer. You can play solo, but it's like you are going to miss out on some content, and I understand why people are upset about that, but get over it.
Don't say that.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
No. Like, it's like,
that's going to piss people off.
Why should BioWare wants to make this as a multiplayer game? Why should they limit what they want to do with this? Because some people want to only just, like, you know, they still have it so you can play the game solo, but they still have some things in there for people that, oh, so, like, if you're playing with your friends, you have these raids, you have these really powerful things, and you're like, oh, I want to do that solo.
Not to mention,
they have to keep some...
They've gone out of their way to say that, look, the only thing you have to play with your with a group is this one thing, and that's it. Everything else you can solo. So, Ileana, sorry if I seem annoyed. I'm not annoyed at you. It's just we just jumped off of people shitting on Anthem for no reason. So I totally get people having being worried that this isn't going to be fulfilling as a single player, but it's BioWare. They tell stories with single players in mind, and trying to incorporate some multiplayer aspects into that isn't really going to detract from that focus, I think. I don't think
we'll see. I don't believe that at all. And as far as playing World of Warcraft solo, the answer is yes and no. You're going to run into people, and they're going to kill your shit.
I mean, I got to level 80 in World of Warcraft just by playing
I get that, but you're still going to run into people who are trying to kill your stuff. It's not a solo experience, no matter how many people you don't group up with.
Server.
There's also no PvP in Anthem.
Yeah.
Which I don't care about, but I think...
Well, I mean, so, like, if you come across... If you're, like, buggering around, you come across a dude, it's like, he can't do anything.
I understand that, but he can still kill your enemies.
Okay.
Trust me, that annoys the crap out of people. Trust me on that.
I mean, they could have a mechanic of, like, if you're in the area with someone and someone else kills, like, you know, you get assist XP. So
it doesn't matter. It'll annoy people, and it annoys me slightly, and that'll make it not single player, which is the point that she's making, I believe.
Well, it's just like, okay, so you can do this in single player, and, you know, they have the story. You can do the story and all the stuff in single player, but they just have some features in the game that they're like, we really want you to play with your friends because this is what we're trying to do, and people are like, no.
The question is, BioWare stated the game will be playable solo. How truthful do you think that is?
I think it's very truthful.
Okay.
It's just that there's some things in there that they want you to play with your friends, and people are upset about that.
Which means it's not truthful.
No, it is. No, it is.
And like I said, they have bent over backwards to make sure there are as few things in there that are exclusively multiplayer, and it's the strongholds. And they said, yes, there will be a few bits of loot that you can't get otherwise. Otherwise, everything else, you can solo that shit all you like.
Well, we'll have to see. I think it'll depend on how loot works. For instance, if you want to level up, are you going to not be able to do that solo? We don't have the answer to the question yet. What do you
mean? I'm not going to be able to level up if it's solo.
Yeah, wait.
No,
what?
Get the high end gear. You have to be in a group.
Gear. High-end gear.
We don't know the answers to these things. Is my point.
Fine.
No, we don't. We haven't played the game.
No, they have said that you.
I don't care what they say. We haven't played the game.
Jesus Christ.
Torquebo God asks, and this question, I don't know how we do this. Will the expectations of this game be met? I don't know what the expectations are.
Well, it's a hard question to ask because
we have different expectations. You guys are very excited. I'm not really that excited. I don't say that.
A lot of people, when it's sort of a ride or die kind of project of, this is going to be the game that either saves BioWare for the public, the gaming public in general, or it's going to just...
Are people expecting it to save BioWare?
I think people...
I'm still confused on that question.
Yeah.
I don't... Is it going to meet expectations?
I'm going to say yes.
What?
I think
I don't know what expectations are.
I think it will meet and exceed its expectations because I have faith in BioWare and the devs. Because
I don't think there's I think the answer to the question though is there aren't consistent expectations right now, so that question cannot be answered.
Not just that, but everyone has a different expectation. There's no.
I mean, for instance, people are universally excited for Red Dead 2, and will that meet its expectations? I have no idea how.
I just wish they didn't force the devs into crunch time for like 100-hour weeks.
100 hours.
No, okay, that was a couple people, and that's usually people.
Oh, you are not fucking defending that shit. Minis, shut the fuck up.
I don't
you
have
are
the
not
answers.
defending
All
that
right,
shit.
go yell. Go ahead.
Yeah, yelling.
Finish it off. Why am I wrong?
Because that is fucking inhumane to be like, instead of hiring more people or managing a project correctly, we're just going to force a specific couple of people to work themselves to death. Do you have any idea the amount of like devs that came out and said like, I worked for crunch, I worked these stupid hours, and then I was hospitalized for like 6 months. It's
Crunch is actually a big problem in the gaming industry because the gaming industry isn't unionized.
So don't even dare try and defend that in my presence.
Okay. I guess I just I'm responding to the Rockstar people that responded, which may or may not have been propaganda.
It's crunch in the gaming industry is something like.
I think, and this is the hardest part. We talked about this off the air. Is that there are like twice as many people who want to work in gaming as there are jobs.
Yeah, the thing about the gaming industry,
so if they are told to work 100 hours, they should just shut up because someone else wants their job.
That's their current attitude.
Well, I think actually
their attitude needs to change.
Yeah. Well,
there's the thing. Like the gaming industry isn't as big as a lot of people think it is. Like it's actually considerably small with how large of a how large it reaches people. It's actually not that big.
Like more people work on movies than video games.
Yeah, right? and people don't understand that.
Not to mention that whole towns like Los Angeles have been constructed because, or have an entire chunk of their industry and infrastructure surrounding by movies and.
Well, I feel like that's starting to happen with the gaming industry.
It might be.
It took some time.
It
definitely took some time, but
the one thing that movies have is they have very powerful unions, and they're not like European unions
where not unionized,
and the gaming industry is not. Yeah,
we do need
and I don't
to
know,
unionize.
That's currently a problem.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're going to do that as long as so many people want to work. Like they can easily replace everybody obviously the quality of the games will go down. But from a purely business standpoint, the guys are going to say, "Oh, ha, ha, you have to do this, otherwise we got someone who could take your job."
Then we need to publicly shame them. That's why the Rockstar thing has been such
all right.
a good
shame then.
Well, I mean, since they did bring that up, I have now seen like conversations about trying to get the gaming industry unionized.
That's been going on for a while. I hope that happens.
But I mean, now it's coming more into light.
Yeah,
more.
It'll continue to gain, and hopefully that'll happen. I know.
Yeah.
Depending on where you live, some like unions are completely out of control. In the United States, they are not out of control. They are under control, in my opinion. But in Europe, sometimes I know I read stuff, and this is me not being in Europe. Be like farmers in France that freak out and they'll literally block off roads and stuff. And that's not what people do here.
I can't advocate for that, but basically the reason we have weekends, the reason we have decent hours and decent wages is because of unions, and the fact that because bear in mind, like Walmart has a branch in the UK called Asda. Now Asda has nowhere near as many, shall we say, disgusting business practices as the Walmart side of it does, because basically because of unions, a lot of laws got placed in the UK that basically mean that they can't get away with that shit, whereas in America they can.
Question though, with that name, did someone fall on the keyboard and that's how they named that company?
Probably.
I guess. I've grown up with it, so yeah. This
is related to gaming highly because we're talking about the crunch thing. I like unions a lot. I think that'll benefit them, and generally that has been increasing in things. And this isn't directly socialism. These are market factors. In free market capitalism, the workers have a say. Supply and demand. Woo! All right, we're going to stop talking about this because some people are going to be annoyed.
Yep.
So, last question.
Michael Redman asks, will the lack of romanceable NPCs be the final nail in BioWare's coffin? Very serious question.
No,
because I am about 90% sure that they're going to patch in romance later on.
Well,
not even just that, but that's not going to be a nail in a coffin.
No, that's too gloom and doom. I know people really like the romances in BioWare. We took a poll on this. Romance is not that important, according to people.
Yeah.
As far as BioWare games
important,
go.
But it's
definitely not a nail type situation.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Do you guys have anything more you want to say about Anthem?
Nah.
Anything we can yell about?
Probably.
Nick
All right.
Halleck is really cute.
All right, we're low on time, so don't get started.
If we want to talk about things we're excited about, Pokemon Go just put out the Sinnoh region.
I don't know what that is.
Spyro comes out in like a week.
Pokemon, and
does it really?
Yeah, I can't wait.
I got really excited when the Pokemon Go update came out with the Sinnoh region. I went on a 15K walk.
Oh, was
good for you.
Yeah, good. That's great. If people like Pokemon Go is actually a positive for the gaming industry, in my opinion. I just don't care.
Dude, the most time that the world was at peace was like the 2 weeks after Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah, I'm never gonna play any of these. So.
Oh, no, I know.
I'm just not interested in those IPs.
Minius is just allergic to fun.
But this one just gets you walking. It's fun.
No, I'm not allergic to fun. I just don't want any fucking Pokemon.
I'll tell you what, Tucker, I was feeling really nostalgic, so I downloaded an emulator for Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, so I now have both the Harry Potter Game Boy Color games working, and I've got Fire Red working, and I am in heaven.
That's awesome. So wait, before we end this, I have two jokes.
Okay.
So how do you get Pikachu on a bus?
Hold on, before you start, do I have to cut these out?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay.
How do you get Pikachu on a bus?
I don't know how.
You Pokemon.
Okay.
Why can't Pokemon go in public showers?
Why?
Because they'll peek at you.
Wow. I wanted to end the show on a high note, and you ruined it.
That's okay.
You ruined it, Tucker. You ruin everything. You're a ruiner.
You wanted to end it on a high note, but I kind of hate the key of E minor because it gives me the EBGBs.
Oh my God.
Okay, that was kind of amusing.
All right. Next week on the show, Detroit Become Human. Ability Drain is probably going to fill in.
Yay!
There's an off chance that this podcast will be pushed by a week, but keep an eye on our Twitters. I'm at MiniusGC. SecretCat is at SecretCat5500, and Tucker runs N7 Follower.
Woo!
Yeah, like I said, I will not be on that podcast because I'll ruin it and complain about QTEs the whole time, and that is not the point of the podcast.
Nope.
So play that game.
Probably finished that game at some point. Though.
You can finish it. If you're listening, obviously you can come back to that podcast whenever. So it's timeless. All right, that's it for this week.
Bye, everyone.
If you like this show, tell your friends. I'm not done yet. If not, tell your enemies. We're happy. I have this long.
Are we done now?
Is my outro too long?
Are we done
it's
now?
Very long. I want to cover. No, we're not done. I just want to cover stuff. You two can hang up. If not, or whatever. If you like the show, tell your friends. If not, tell your enemies. We're happy either ways. Accidentally Casual is a weekly podcast. Check our Twitters for the release
when do we
date.
say goodbye?
Shut the fuck up, Tucker. The two most recent podcasts are also on SoundCloud. Like we mentioned, Detroit Become Human is the active topic for next week. You can go to our email, accidentallycasual@gmail.com. We have extra content on our YouTube channels, Kind of BioWare Central and MiniusGC. For SecretCat and the Tucker, I'm Minius, reminding you to try and game happy, which is impossible to do when Tucker is talking.
Is this the outro?
Wait, Seeker, do you record under a blanket?
Yes. Why?
How does that work?
I have a blanket above me that's being supported by my head and the laptop screen, and then I have a blanket beneath me, so it's nice and soft and cuddly. I have the coziest podcast set up.
We need fan art of Seeker looking like a ghost, basically.
I have a pillow fort, y'all. I record in a pillow fort.